Hello everyone. I'm gonna be interviewing my brother today. It's actually his birthday, so happy birthday, Butch.
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna start it. Are you ready?
Okay.
Okay. My first question is, how old are you today?
I'm 66 years old now
66. And where were you born?
in Cebu City.
Okay. Can you tell me about your education, like where you went first, school until you graduate from college?
Okay. I attended preschool in Don Bosco in Mandaluyong, Manila.
Okay.
And then I studied grade 1 to second year high school in Sacred Heart School for Boys in Cebu City. And then second year, uh, I did not finish the second year in Sacred Heart School for Boys. I was suspended for one semester. I transferred to Dumaguete to study in St. Louis University in Dumaguete. And then on third year, I went back to Cebu. I studied in University of the Philippines, Lahug, at Lahug campus.
Is that where you graduated high school?
That's where I graduated high school, and then I um, I went to De La Salle University for my university education, college education.
Okay. When there was martial law in the Philippines, what were you still in high school or were you in college already?
I was in second year high school that
Oh,
time
in St. Louis.
in St. Louis.
Okay. How did that affect you? Because dad was in prison. What was your feeling, or how did that situation affect you?
Well, before Dad was incarcerated, actually Dad was the one who accompanied me to Dumaguete.
Okay.
The first when I went to St. Louis, and um, so
Why did he pick Dumaguete of all schools?
I actually chose Dumaguete because I wanted to transfer to Silliman University,
Okay.
and Silliman did not accept me because of the history of my brother,
This is Alonso.
which is Alonzo, um, and his friend. They had a there was a problem in the dormitory where they were staying, and so I was not accepted there. And Siliman used to have a very liberated education, long hair and everything. So I preferred that. And then so I had a choice. I had another choice, which is St. Paul's or St. Louis. St. Paul's, I really wanted to go there because all the Hacienderas' daughter were there. But I need to go. Second year, we were all high school had to do Philippine military training, PMT. During our time, that was PMT.
Okay.
So meaning haircut and everything, discipline. So, and then St. Louis did not require me to. It was voluntary for second year for PMT. So I chose St. Louis instead of going to St. Paul's.
Okay.
That's why I was in St. That's why I was in St. Louis. But my first choice was really Silliman
Okay.
University.
Okay. Okay.
And the question regarding how it affected me. So when I was in St. Louis, I found out martial law was declared, and then I found out my dad was incarcerated. So sometimes it affected me in the sense of sometimes allowance would be late, and it's a good thing that there was an uncle of mine who's assistant manager in DBP, Development Bank of the Philippines,
Tito Boy.
Tito Boy, Tito Silvio, sila Hazel, okay. So every time I ran out of money, I used to go there to ask financial assistance. And so that was how it really affected me. Um, And one of the reasons why I studied in Manila was because of Dad. I have had to study in Manila because I was the one visiting Dad every week. Every week there's 1 week visitation day. I was the one visiting Dad in Malacañang
So once a
Hospital.
week you would go to
To
the
Malacañang Hospital and or to Fort Bonifacio, depending on where Dad was incarcerated. So that was one of the major reasons why I was studying in Manila.
Oh, okay, okay. And that's where you went to De La Salle.
That's I studied in De La Salle University.
What did you finish at De La Salle?
I finished BS Marketing Management.
Okay. Okay, so after you graduated at De La Salle, what was your next step? Did you start working right away, or?
Well, since Dad was still incarcerated, and we had Dad had a construction company, and the construction company needed managers because it was in out of the way places. So I was sent to Pagadian. Okay.
Oh, so you work for Dad's
So
construction company?
I work for Dad's construction company.
Okay.
I was sent to Pagadian, and I managed oversaw the construction projects in those places in Pagadian, in Iligan, in Aurora, which is part of Misamis. It's between Iligan and Misamis, and in Cotabato City.
So Dad has projects in all of them?
Yes, in Iligan, in Lanao del Norte, we had this big project. It's a dam. It's and that was very challenging because that was a project. On that river was a crossroad. On that river, there was other side was the Muslim, and the other side was a Christian community. The mayor was a Muslim. The vice mayor was a Christian. Okay, and in that project, the Muslim they always, to cross the river, they would ask us to use the dump truck to cross the river. You can't say no. Okay, so that was a very critical project. And then we had a project in Aurora, which is on top of the mountain. It's a crossroad between Osamis Oriental and Lanao del Norte, and we had a road construction project going down to Lanao del Norte. Okay, and that was very challenging because again, all the construction project was very challenging because we didn't have the necessary cash flow for the projects. Okay. So, and then we had I was based in Pagadian, where in Pagadian we had a memorial park that we were developing. Memorial park. So actually the memorial park, when I started it, and that was where I was getting my cash flow, whatever I could sell in terms of loan lots. Okay, and then I used to go from Pagadian, take the boat going to Cotabato City. So they were going through, because that's an overnight boat trip to Cotabato City, because we had a project in Cotabato City where at the back it was a National Irrigation Administration building. We were putting up National Irrigation building, and at the back was the Philippine military headquarters, wherein they were, like, we could always hear them bombarding the Muslim side, and that was and all those projects when I came in was already in deep shit. We were already in the red. They were delayed, and we're having problems with all those problems, with all those properties, all those projects. One of them. So that's my history there. Okay.
Weren't you? I think I heard you talk about that at one time. They put you in prison or in jail.
Oh yes. Okay. So
Can you tell
Twice.
me about it? Okay.
Okay. One was we had the Aurora project, so we needed fuel for our sabi ng pison sa English.
Bulldozer?
Pison kanang roller ba kanang roll para sa unsa sa daan dagkong ligid bo
Yeah, yeah.
para maunsa ang daan. So and grader kasi we need the grader kay road construction man to. So we needed fuel. We didn't have fuel. So what happened was that I got to talk to this gasoline station owner to supply us with fuel and on credit. And they said, "Oh, you just issue us a post-dated check." Okay, because after that I had a scheduled collection. After the audit, I would have a scheduled collection, and I promised that I would pay that supplier for the fuel. So what happened was that what happened was that when I went to Zamboanga City to collect, Dad collected the money, and so the check bounced. So I was bouncing check when the owner of the gasoline station had contacts with the NBI. They were also a rich family, so they had to put me in prison. Okay, si Tito Felix Caballas was the one, and si Attorney Senesa, they were the ones who got me out.
How long did you stay in?
Oh, it was 2 nights lang kay
Nights.
weekend man to. So they can't do anything on a holiday. Pero I was treated well by the person that I owed, because they sent me food, they sent me what I needed there, and then in the second night they transferred me to the office, not in the cell anymore. Okay, so that was my experience there, and it was Tito Felix and Attorney Senesa who brought me out, but Attorney Senesa was the one who the money was taken from si Kutyong. He's a big rice trader in Zamboanga del Sur, Takokay Kunsa, and si Attorney Senesa was the one who guaranteed it, which we never paid actually. Okay. But anyway, that's another story. So that money was paid, so they were able to get me out. The other one was in Cotabato City. Okay, Cotabato City, again, our problem was the only jobs Muslims would get is as a security people, no? And we would lose things. Okay, and they were supposed to be the security. Okay, and of course we couldn't accuse them, so I had to get an equipment, and we get again issued a post-dated check to get the equipment so the project can continue. The one who vouched for me was katong relative nila Freddy Santos, katong murag kung sa ni Daddy, mama to, Cotabato. Remember anymore, mama. Close kay to ni Daddy, relative to nila ni Freddy Santos. We used to be the regional director. Daddy used to be a project engineer at DPWH. That was like his mentor. That guy used to be regional director of DPWH. So he was the one who vouched for me. So,
Okay.
and so we issued a check. So again, it bounced, and so I was hearing everything, and he was the one who brought me out also again. But I was really incarcerated for one night. Okay. But
So-
I was treated well. I never really can experience ka ng mga
Oh.
di man
So
ka
you
ng
weren't
provincial
traumatized?
jail or anything.
You weren't traumatized?
Well, it was traumatic in the sense that it was so shameful. You're caught, and you're put into jail, no. So that's but
Okay.
anyway, that was one of the things there. And then we had a house in Pagadian, overlooking, very nice place,
Yeah.
overlooking the supposedly Pajares subdivision, which Dad was supposed to be the contractor. That was put on hold. The project was put on hold, and my last moments there was we sold to finish the Aurora project. Okay, we borrowed money from Paking. Yeah. You know Paking, di ba?
Yeah, I met him.
Okay. And he funded the project so that we were able to finish it, IBRD. And when we finished it, kami, Attorney Sinesa, Tito Felix, ako, we promised to pay si Kuchong, promised to pay, sa collection, we promised to pay si Baking. Pag ato na mo dito sa unsa, nakuha ni sa ni Daddy. Okay. Because Daddy had, well, anyway, that was something, it was always like that. Okay. So, once na mo mabayaran si Paking. So, what I did was, we sold the house where I was staying. So, and paid Paking. In fact, it did not cover all the payables that I incurred. So
Budget.
so anyway, that was always the case, no. So there was, because we had already, the projects were already over collected vis-a-vis accomplishment. Okay, usually accomplishment man, and you can collect based on the accomplishment.
Yeah.
So Dad was able to collect more than the accomplishment, and then maybe use it for something else, and then the money did not come back to the project. So that the project became a problem. So, and the project was more on the 50% down already. So it's already problematic because the money doesn't come in. Okay, and then. And in relation to that, by the way, is the Pamatasan property. The Pamatasan property was mortgaged to Traders Royal Bank to send 50,000 cash flow for that dam project. Okay?
So, mudi na nakabuham siya sa Royal Traders Bank.
Traders Royal Bank. Kaya
Because
naman
of
siya
that
magkaila na nagpirma si Mama Dingding. Okay? So, buo na cause to. Gigabi to sa dam. Okay? But even beforehand, I could not understand the way Dad was. We had a conflict in that matter in terms of the management of the money, because we were insisting that don't touch the collection, so that I can roll and finish. But Dad has his own ways, and in my later years, thinking about it, after the fact, man, I realized na si Dad, up to that point, Dad had so many accounts payables already. Okay? And they were running after him already, pressuring him to pay. So he had no choice but to pay them at the expense of and then he would just get any project that he can get, whether like the dam project was a failed project or failed contractor. He got it. Okay? And then just to have a project. Okay? But it was already a failed project. Okay? Katong mga projects ni Dad in the later years was a lot of them were failed projects already. Nobody wanted to touch it anymore. But Dad had to get it because he was still inside working, trying to. So while he was inside, he incurred debts. I don't know to what extent the debts are, but he incurred debts. Okay.
This
And-
was when he was really incarcerated.
He was incarcerated already because Dad was claiming before he was incarcerated, he had a few million pesos cash on hand. But that was every week, Mom had to buy pay katong military sila Colonel Diego, katong mo in charge sa legal sa Malacanang, that's to maintain Dad sa Malacanang Hospital. Di siya di siya mabalhin sa and then every week Mom would bring lechon or food and give to these people in Malacanang, whoever pwede niya makontak para makatabang ni Dad. So anyway, and then we had a standard of living. So somehow that cash flow was consumed, and once it was consumed, I presume Dad incurred a lot of debts because Dad knew a lot of people who trusted him and knew his reputation, so they also granted him all these debts. Okay. In fact, Dad, being a Mason, used that to his advantage. Paking was a Mason. Katong supplier na mo sa Maranding, sa Lanao del Norte, katong dam, Mason to siya. He was one of the rich families there in Maranding. The dam project was in that municipality, Maranding, in Lanao del Norte. Okay? Mason to siya. Sa Iligan project, Mason to. Katong mga suppliers na to sa heavy equipment, mga spare parts. So, Dad actually used his being a Mason to get all the support from all these people. So that's why he was still able to roll, able to do things, okay. So and then, but the problem was when I came in, he was already in debt.
Okay. And he has to get money to pay those debts.
Yes, he had to get
So
money to pay his debts.
He has to do this.
Lang
get
kahit,
money here.
that's
And
it.
yung karin
Di naman sa mobile. Kadi mo earn income, di na hinon mo yung kahuman.
Yeah, okay. I understand.
Okay, so that was the major problem. Okay, but and now I understand after thinking about it. Siguro kung ako sa position ni Dad, di siguro ko mahimo na dili kay pressure naman siya to pay the existing na people already running after him, and she said wala siya choice siguro na he needed to get this and pay them gani.
Yeah.
Okay.
I understand.
So that's one of the things na
So what happened? So that was the situation. So what did you decide to quit then?
so I decided to when Dad went out, he had this he was able to get this National Human Settlement Project in Binondo. Okay. He wanted me to go to Binondo and work for him there. Okay, so I decided I didn't want to work with Dad anymore. Okay.
So what did
So I taught in University San Jose.
you,
because-
so you were a teacher?
Yeah, I was a teacher. Okay, so
you know that.
in Pagadian, I was actually teaching in St. Columban University. Okay, so murag auto akong sideline kunuhay. Aside from the sale in the Memorial Park, no, buhi na ako because I was not getting any salary. I was, I had to scrounge for my own whatever I have, whatever in financial support I can provide myself, because we had really a problem there. And then, so I taught in University of San Jose, and
That's in Cebu, right?
that's in
Yeah.
Cebu,
Okay.
San Jose. So I taught for 2 semesters there, and then I taught for 2 semesters in St. Columban
Pagadian.
College in Pagadian.
Okay.
So anyway, when I was teaching, okay, that was the time that because I didn't want to go to Manila and work with Dad, That was the time that that I was supposed to go to. I asked Dad na kung pwede, let's go to the States. That's where you know what happened to me there.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so one of the things there. So anyway, that was a bad experience. I don't want to talk about it. Okay.
It's fine.
So I came back. Okay. And when I came back, Dad said, throw me out of the house. Hey, you can go on your own. Oh yeah, you go on your own. Okay. So a friend helped me. So this guy John Rick, he was a managing director, one of the departments of Meralco Foundation. Okay. And he. No, even before that, okay, I applied for a job in one of Cuenca's companies. They were PDCP. They were a big construction company. They were doing the expressways. Okay, and they had Cuenca had this major company, and they have these smaller companies supporting the major company. So the major company doing the expressway was Philippine Development Construction, the Philippines, PDCP. And they had this other small company called Flora Filipina. Flora Filipina, okay, is a landscape, and they're actually a landscape company with and planting their own ornamental plants. So they were the ones tasked to beautify the expressways, North and South Expressway. Okay. Kaya si Cuenca was Marcos Crony Montosia. Okay. So I worked for Flora Filipina. So when I came back from the States, I was thrown out. A friend of mine asked me to live with him until I get a job, find a job. So I was able to find a job in Binondo as a market researcher for tapes. And then while I was doing that, I was able to get this job from Flora Filipina. I was now the marketing manager. Okay. Flora Filipina was into landscaping, and they had this nursery in Cavite. Okay. Big nursery, okay? And that nursery, that's where they have the ornamental plants and everything grown there. So my role was to market the ornamental plants of not limited, because they were basically supplying the needs of the expressway. So my role as marketing manager was to sell the ornamental plants to other companies, to the buildings in Makati or what, to provide them with the ornamental plants. Okay, so that was what my job was. Okay, until my friend became a managing director of one department, and he asked me to join him sa Meralco Foundation.
Okay. This is John Rick.
This is John Rick. Okay. So he was the director for membership, okay, because Meralco Foundation had this program, productivity in training, something like that, and one of the components there, that if you get a company to become a member of Meralco Foundation, they will have benefits, training, etc., etc., human resource development, things like that. Meralco Foundation was into human resource development. So one of the so my friend was the head, the chief for the membership. So I was under him. So my first group was to invite companies to join us and come up with this productivity development programs for companies. Okay. So the productivity development programs was actually part of that is actually what they call MIS, Management Information System. So we were supposed to measure the productivity sa mga employees. So let's say a manufacturing company, we measure ang ratio, so how many they can produce, and how low, and cost effective ba na. So I was in that specific program. Okay. I was the one in charge of that program. So we would go to market to multinationals, big companies, and try to get them to to be a member so that we can measure their productivity. Okay, so that's the specific program that I was hired. Okay, until ultimately I became the chief for the membership department. So because being a member would have so many benefits. One of the benefits was the specific program that I was handling previously. Okay? So my friend became a director of manpower placement. I became the chief for the membership department. Okay? So katong sa manpower placement is a separate division actually. So managing director siya. That manpower placement, what we do is what they do. So I was become the membership, and that division is supposed to be one of the benefits for a member of Meralco Foundation, aside from mga reading materials that they get every month, training discounts that they can get. So from the membership department, I became that division, sa manpower placement, had 3 departments. Okay, one is a foreign accounts department. Okay, this is a department that gets overseas companies to hire from us. Okay, there's domestic account department where this is where we place our people into the companies, our member companies. Okay, and then there is the research and development and recruitment. So they will now, if you want a job, recruit, come apply to us, and we will have a data bank, and then you give the necessary psychological exams and things like that, and then we place them either foreign or domestic. Okay, so membership was so I was ultimately transferred to became the chief of the domestic accounts department. So I was placing PCI Bank, mga encoding, mga napamasla sa bank backroom operation, mga encoders, and I was the one placing them from our data bank. And then ultimately I became the head of the foreign accounts department. So because we had clients who were in Dubai or Saudi Arabia, and then so my job was to market to these people. Okay, so when they come, we market to them. They come, I entertain and then market our people there. Okay, so until that time, wherein they gave early retirement program. Okay, because that was already People's Power Revolution. Okay, so the People's Power Revolution, okay, Meralco Foundation decided to give early retirement to employees. So that's when I accepted the early retirement, got the benefits, and then I transferred back to Cebu.
Oh, so
Okay.
I didn't know that.
So-
I thought you just quit. So you actually you went on an early retirement. You
I
didn't know
applied for an early retirement, okay, and then we went to, because during that time we were already starting
You
to
were
talk
already
about
married
the
then,
katong.
right?
Oh,
Right, okay.
and then I had when I came back, Jenica was still a baby, a few months old baby. So, but before I came back, okay, we were already talking to that people sa kay daddy's house. They had the kanang boarders who was staying in our house, renting a room, who was Australian, was into for importing furnitures made in the Philippines and bringing it to Australia. So that was the one that so we were already thinking of that, okay, linking that up. So when I retired, we went into actual really production of the, okay, now it was somehow it was not actually I was forced in that situation, if you really look into it, because that was also the time that daddy sold Santiago property katong kay Mama Dingding, okay, and So, but previous to that, we were already talking about this, and then Dad asked me to sign in behalf of Mommy. Kaya Mommy was the one who gave me an SPA for the sale of the Sanshanko property. Saying that, hey, I already set up your production in the house, in the residence, kato sa likod.
Really?
Oh, so wala ko'y mabuhat. Okay?
So Dad actually wants you to be the one spearheading that.
Because
Pero he still has the
Dad
end
never
control.
gave the money. He get some people started making the dirty kitchen, a production area, abog kaya na diha. So Dad got the money and move out. Anyway, during the time that I was there already, that's where the problem with Dad already, because
So you didn't learn from your past experience back then.
no, I didn't want to work with Dad, but there is that well, he's my dad. You always want to give him chance to do the right thing, right? Well, you know, because no matter what, he's your dad, and something like that. But no matter what, he's my brother, and something like that. So anyway,
But
that's where I found out the katong game mortgage. So when I was already working there, kaya na naman ang factory, I found out, and then I hired sila, kaya naman ang construction company, I hired sila si Baby, si Lucio, okay. That's the time that I found out that
Dad
mortgage the property, okay, and katong kay Mommy, okay, which I told Mommy about.
That's when the trouble between you and because Mommy told you to hide the title or something like that.
Yes, that's what happened now, okay. So that, because when I was working there, I was using the master's bedroom as my office, okay. So when Lucio told me, I informed Mom, okay, and then I informed Mom, and then Mom said, okay, do what you need to do to protect. So I want you to represent me. That was part of already the signing katong sa Sanshanko property. Ako na SPA, okay. So mao to ang start. So gitaguan ako ang original title, okay. Pagpangitan ni Daddy, asa ang title. Okay. Suko siya na ako.
So start sa inyong
conflict. So wa na di na sumtagad na ako or whatever. He doesn't seem, well, not necessarily over. Ang mga bata, that's right. Oh, affected sila. So anyway, that's what happened, okay? And so ultimately, I had to get out of kay residential man to niya. Abog naman project kay nakakuha man may project atong sa Australian so I had to go to come up with the plant, rent kog space somewhere in Mandaue, near Mandaue Foam actually, at the back of Mandaue Foam. May planta dito, buhat yan, make order. We were doing good. Nakabuhat, make order, kanang mga railings, kanang mga unsa, nagpada sa Australia, okay? And I was already planning to go into buying a property to set up a plant. Okay, somewhere in Consolacion, Liluan, in that outskirts there. But di man, and then that's where you came in, and that's where the katong Yolanda came in. Yolanda, katong super typhoon na 1 month way quarantine na crash na katong naapektuhan ka katong sa Bon Marché order na crash, guba ang planta, tanan kay ang planta, di man kanang kahoy unsa ra mga lumber, guba ang planta. That was the time na kay November man to, that was the time na mo ready na may for shipment nya nag super typhoon. Roofing man siguro to.
Yeah, I remember that was one of the
1 month way quarantine sa Cebu City, okay, Mandaue, okay. So, guba pang planta. Ang katong mga products nako na dapat ipa-ship out, kuno nang imong hagod, usa na to imong mga produkto. Katong dagkong base, okay? Ready na sila for ship out. Isun na sa container, ready na siya, nag-quality control na lang may. Guba tanan, basa, guba ang planta tanan-tanan. Okay? So I had to repeat the whole thing. So all the money I earned from that previous venture, income na ako untang ipalit yun sa to. And aside from I had to incur debts kay nagpalit pa ko generator, nag-set up ko ka ng temporary ng tent lang para lang makatrabaho, gasto na I had to mortgage kusakyanan, property, para lang na ako capital anto niya. Tusa na to sa imuha, ang imuha. Kano sa buto na ako na mail, Valentine's Day na ako na mail na ship out. Well, December gutong commitment anto, di ba? So, unsa jud kay ito? Kung sa down jud ko ay ko kay negative jud ko. Kay I had to borrow money just to get the production finished and ship it out. Okay.
So,
mao to.
yung trouble with that, ni grabe pag yun.
Grabe pag yun. Nagbagatong time. So, anyway, mao na to. So, pag unsa na ako ato dito na I was able to join a company na with Dr. Larzabal, with kanang Chiling Sala, una pulay EDC, lending. Lending is only one component of that company. The other company was more on project studies, katong with Yvonne, kay unsa na mo adto, ang owners adto si Chiling Sala, si Dr. Larzabal, si Yvonne, si Babet Ibanez, kasi Babet was the right hand, Lito had a left and right hand man, okay? So ito si Babet Ibanez, ito si Winston Garcia, okay? So kuha na mo si Babet kay siya to murag supposedly gikan man to siya sa NEDA, murag kanang one of the second top position to sa NEDA. He was the one supposed to be the connection para sa mga studies, okay? Siya man tong in charge sa kanang project na siya may representative sa province regarding katong ang Ayala, ang Cebu Business Park ba, ang Ayala man convert man to into a commercial company, Baligya, Manila. Okay, that's why Cebu Business Park together with Ayala, siya may representative ni Lito the capital, si Baben. So amo to siya gikuha as one of the owners, okay? Kanya ako ug si John Rick ito. Anyway, we formed that company, and then napagay ko yung kailas Japit, architect ko siya. So the company had three main business. Okay, one was the research the studies. The one was the lending, kay mag-lend me sa employees sa Cebu Doctors, kay kina Dr. Larzabal. And then ang katulo, we were into property development kasi Japit architect man siya. Yeah. So we rented a building na among himong dormitory near CIT. So mao to tulo ka buok. Okay. So what happened there was that company, si Babet resigned as kay governor, kay ni-run siya as congressman against Martinez. Bugo bantayan, kay taga-bantayan to siya. So nawa, pildi man siya ni Martinez. Si Larzabal wanted to control the lending. Kaya iyamang company, iyamang Cebu employees ang we were giving employee salaries, okay? So she wanted to control that, okay? And then, naagon may office sa Aneseta building, which was owned by Larzabal, okay? Kaya Aneseta man to yung wife, okay? And then, ang katong sa project development, nag-away pag gimik because John Rick wanted to run that ano.
Yeah.
So nag-conflict sila may Japit. So with the John Rick left niya mo usa sa to nag-conflict na mo ni John Rick o isang tagad kanilaban ko ni Japit adto. Kaya ako may ga-invite adto ni Japit kasi ang wife ni Japit kauban man ni Grace sa BPI mga to kailam yan to niya ba. So nilaban ko ni Japit kasi well, John Rick wanted to get it and he did things na was not fair ba. So, mo na to ng business, and then and during that studies, I was also looking into Camotes, we wanted to put up a rural bank. Okay? So, a rural bank, okay? So, we had a group who wanted to put a rural bank. Usaon ta to was to open in Palumpon. So we were looking at Palumpon, we're looking at and also here din is Camotes. Pero during that time, ang central bank was not granting new licenses because they wanted those who want to go into rural bank, they wanted to sell daghan mang rural banks na nag-fail. Okay? So they wanted the ones who would come in to buy the failed rural banks under their wing sa central bank para ma-unload nila. Kaya kani mga nasa loan na naman ay utang nila ni ilang gikuha.
Okay.
Kaya ang rural bank mo borrow man from central bank. Okay? So kung di lang kakabayad, kuha nila ang rural bank. And that time daghan ni fail. So they wanted to unload the rural banks in their possession. So before you can come in, you have to buy this existing rural banks which is already a failed unsa mo take over ba. So ikaw na mo rehabilitate no gana. So we didn't want to go into that because one of the things about rural bank is the properties that was mortgaged to them. Okay, so when you buy a rural bank, you also acquire the properties under them. Okay, so ang problema, the properties was not part of the sale because rural central bank wanted to get money from those properties. Okay, sila mo auction. Okay, at the same time you have to pay the failed rural bank.
So they want to keep the asset and they want to sell off the liability
of the rural bank. Okay, so no way. Okay, so that's when we decided to go into the lending. That's the reason why it was into lending. Okay. And then we wanted to expand to Palumpon because Palumpon is an area wherein na-eskwelahan diha na kanang marine gani. Kusog kay sila that university. Ninasad ko'y kauban sa Couples for Christ at doon na taga Palumpon yun, prominent family in Palumpon. Okay, so we wanted to branch there which never prospered, no? So, moto nasugod ang lending din eh. Mudagpanan was nasugod din sa Camotes. Okay? So, however, for me personally, di man mahimo siya maka-afford to pay what I need financially. Okay? Ang dangpanan. Okay? So, what happened was that when we were in this EDC, katong property development, okay, we also were able to manage this what they call RLY building, where we had an office, where the lending office was. This RLY building was owned by the RLY Rosita Luim. Okay, and so we proposed to who was managing that building, who owns that building, na kami lang mo manage the building. Okay, and then we gave suggestion and so nisugot sila. So I was the one managing it. The same time, the same time John came back from the US because he wanted to put up. They had this project called Cove, Golden Cove, Cory Cove development. This was supposed to be a development like Shangri-La, because at that time it was only Shangri-La. Okay,
Wala
so
pa tungkol sa
wala pa ning Plantation Bay, wala pa, it's only Shangri-La. Okay, kanang Cory Cove was supposed to be like a Shangri-La and even bigger than Shangri-La because Ludo and Luim had property development. They had that's a 24-hectare property. Okay, 5-hectare property was going to be part of the resort, and the owners of that resort was first time in the history Marriott Hotel, Ludo and Luim, and then Asia Philippines. Okay, Asia Philippines. Okay, so and then the other hectare was supposed to be developed as a subdivision and supporting that area, so bigger than Shangri-La. Okay, so John got to know me when I was managing Rosita Luim building, and he pirated me to work with him.
Okay.
That's why I work with Ludo and Luim Development Corporation. Okay, that was a transition. Okay, so that's already 9.
Until now, you still with
Until
them?
now, I'm still a consultant there. Okay, so what happened was that they got me so that primarily because I was one of those who was supposed to be meeting with the world, with International Monetary Finance, okay, IMF, World Bank, okay, because the Cory development was supposed to be, we were supposed to borrow 50% from the IMF, World Bank, and us. Okay, we provide the 50%. Okay, so we needed to talk to the IMF, World Bank people. A lot of them are Indian. Okay, so I was hired for that. Okay, but suddenly katong vice president sa Ludo and Luim ni-retire, so I became the vice president. Okay, so now that was it. Okay, I was hired for that, but ultimately I was for the whole company already because ni-resign katong vice president nila, and then for various reasons, no. So and then so that's my history with Ludo. Okay, until the families started fighting, suing each other. Okay, because Ludo Oil was already having problems, and the bank consortium wanted so the company that I work for, they usually have 4 owners, stockholders. Okay, so the 3 brothers who started this corporation, Ludo and Luim Corporation, and they have a foundation. Okay, so these people, okay, now, okay, all their corporations would have these 4 groups, stockholders. Okay, so what happened is that when there was a problem with Ludo and Luim Corporation, the oil, coconut oil, they used to be the biggest in the Far East. They used to have they were trading.
That was actually their bread and butter for a long time.
Yes, they were trading in New York Stock Exchange. Okay, to be able to be considered New York Stock Exchange, that means you're really big. You know. Okay, so anyway, when that was having a problem, okay, because they were so big, they were able to get loans, clean loans from all the banks. All the banks wanted to run after them. So anyway, they for over a period of time, because of the crisis, 1997 crisis, development crisis, then low on coconut price and na. So ultimately, and then they came up with investments that was bad. They were supposed to go processing, and the properties that they built was na problema sa environment and tanan. Okay, so ultimately that corporation became in the red. That corporation had so many bank creditors. What the bank creditors did was to form a consortium to get the assets of Ludo and Luim Corporation. Okay, so they had 3 conditions. One is that they needed the owners of the oil, the Ruto Concession, needed to put up 500 million pesos additional stacks. The owner had to come up, approve rehabilitation plan by the creditors, the banking creditors. The third, okay, they had to put up the collateral. And the collateral
The real estate.
with the real estate company, Ludo and Luim Development Corporation, okay, which is where I was working, okay. So, because they're claiming that if not for the oil, there would be no Ludo and Luim Development Corporation. The money came from, so piercing the corporate veil. That is what they call in the legal term, piercing the corporate veil. Separate corporation man na, okay. But the problem was, the head of the Ludo and Luim Development Corporation did not want to
Yeah. Use it as collateral.
use it as collateral. Who was my boss? Si Jan.
Jan.
Okay, because he became the 51% owner. Well, that's another story, okay? He became the 51%.
So nag-away-away.
Siya mo yung nahimong president and chairman of Ludo and Luim Development Corporation, okay? So, nitabo kay dili man siya mo collateral, yung mo insist pa ang bangko, so they sued Jan, okay? That's the start of the whole problem. So until now, it's not settled. It went to the Supreme Court, everything that settled. Okay. So when then we had to transfer to office. So from Pasil, we transferred office kay usara man ang opisina na. So pagsugod na separate office na autonomy dito sa Luim building, okay? In fact, gitangtang na ganyan nila ang Luim, Luim on tanda karon Ludo Corporation lang sa oil. Nya karon sa Luim building, sa Ludo and Luim building, Luim Co building na. Well, anyway, okay. So what happened was so that was happened. So when I was in Luim building, okay, there was a conflict in relation to the brothers, okay, si John or si Kelly, the brothers, okay. Let's not mention the brothers, okay. One of the brother used to run the oil, okay. The cousins, sila Douglas, before, blame him for the failure of Ludo, okay. Well, what John did was to get Kelly to join him sa Ludo Dem, okay. Usama na sa Kiha, okay. Join him sa Ludo Dem, okay. But ultimately, because Kelly is also strong, we ran Ludo Oil, so they had the ultimate conflict with John, okay. So, and ultimately, I was the one person in between because I was the vice president. I was the one, the leg man.
Yeah.
So when they had a conflict, I was the one sandwich. And then came the son of John, from fresh graduate. Okay, so I was supposed to train him, and then and there was a problem there because well, he had his ways. He was arrogant. He graduate ko Boston University and everything. I was to
Reminder, whatever you say is recorded. So.
So anyway, you can edit that. Okay, so what happened? Because of that, I decided, and because FF Cruz wanted to put a commercial complex in Mandaue SRP, Mandaue Reclamation, okay, and near the Cebu Doctors, so, and they wanted to get me as the marketing manager for that complex, okay. So I resigned from Ludo and transferred there, okay, because the mall manager was going to be Yvonne. I was the second guy in line. I was the marketing manager, okay, for that complex. Kanang dako kayo. If you've been to SNR, that back portion, that SNR and that whole portion, Mandaue Reclamation is actually owned by 3 groups. One was PPA, one is the contractor, and the other one is Mandaue City. Okay, so FF Cruz, the contractor, owned 1/3 of the whole Mandaue Reclamation Park. Okay, so they put up a mall there. Okay, that area they called it the new Mandaue. Supposed to be like developed to be like
New Manila.
like Makati.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why dako kay upat claims guna pero dako anyway it did not materialize, okay, and it became a container van group area so wag yun mo increase ang value, okay. So what FF Cruz did, okay, with the because of the son, what he did was, let's make to increase the value of the property, let's make a commercial complex and let's get people to come in, strategic companies. So we invited Cebu doctors to put up a school there. We invited Toyota dealership to put up there. We was a Ceres bus terminal to be there. We invited a lot of companies to go there. We were able to sell that, okay. We were able to finish the structure in SRP. If you go pass by there, nakita mo na yung structure dito, maraging wala na. Guwapo kay siya, it would have been believe gani kayo si Tito Franklin at itong development kung na-push through pa to. Anyway, so I was there for 4 years, 4 years, okay. We were able to get people to come in, but we were not able to finish the commercial complex because there was a problem between the father and the son, FF Cruz. FF Cruz is an old guy and he just wanted to he had a contractor mentality, okay. And then the son, that would have been their first commercial complex, okay. So ang iyang son, si Eric, was invalid, so so they had a problem. So when they had a problem, I resigned from FF Cruz because they got me sa Habagat to run Habagat. Okay, so that was the partner I ran Habagat for 2-3 years, okay. Habagat is really a viable company. They had some problems, okay. And after that, while I was in Habagat, John kept on calling me. Why don't you come back here? And no, come back here. So I said, ultimately, I agreed to come back as a consultant. Okay. So until now, I'm a consultant with Ludodev. Okay.
But you're not with Habagat anymore.
I resigned from Habagat. Okay. So I think I already told you the story of why I resigned. Okay. Actually. Okay. So until then, I still work with Ludo now. That's actually my main bread and butter now, okay, to the present. And the sideline is that, of course, there was still Dangpanan, and Dangpanan really cannot afford me in terms of what I was getting from Ludo, no? And we were put, and then my intention before was that when I retire, I have a business, and that's Dangpanan, and this business that I set up supposedly. When I set it up, well, anyway, it's supposed to be for my family, okay, and so at least when I retire, I have this business to look into, fill the vacuum, and give me some income, reasonable income. So there's that. That's why there's this business and there's Dangpanan, okay.
Kani na lang unsa atong yuta.
Estate, okay. So
that could be a big one.
Okay, so anyway, before this, okay, I was already telling Grace, okay, maybe we should not include this anymore. I think this is top na ta. No? Okay. Let's stop. Okay.
Folks, that's it for today. Thank you, Butch, for the interview. I think. One last question is, what would you tell young entrepreneurs or people who wants to get into management? Do you have any advice for them? Like looking back at all your experience and all your failure and all your heartbreak, is there anything you wanna give advice to?
Well, like any other, this is already repeated by so many books. Okay, get a job or income stream that you love to do.
Right.
That's one. And then second, because if you love this thing, what you're doing, you will try to learn as much as you can. Okay, so it's easier to learn than something that you don't like to do. Okay, and then you'd like to know all about it, okay? And then, commit yourself to it and work hard towards getting it accomplished. You have to have a goal, of course. That's my advice for people who want to be entrepreneur. But if you're an entrepreneur, you have to take away that employee mentality. Na, hey, you're going to 8 to 5 job. What kind of work now? You still have got a salary? No, you have to work. Whenever you are needed, you have to do something. You have to move. Okay. So you have to have commit yourself to the time. Commit yourself to what you're doing. Okay. That should be a priority.
Okay.
If you want to be successful.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much for the interview. Thank you. Okay, bye-bye.